My name is Zephyr Callan, and I am 52 years old. Last Tuesday, something happened that changed my life forever. I had been on a business trip. My husband thought I would not be home until late at night, but my original flight was canceled, and I was rebooked on an earlier flight. So, instead of arriving at 8 p.m. like I told him, I got home just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I thought it might be fun to surprise him. Maybe I could catch him between meetings. Maybe we could have a quiet moment together. We hadn't had one in a long, long time. I imagined us laughing and talking, maybe sitting together on the couch and sharing a cup of coffee, like we used to. When I got home, the house was very quiet. Too quiet. His car was in the driveway. That surprised me. I thought, oh, maybe he's upstairs working or on a phone call. I set my suitcase down near the door and slowly started walking up the stairs. I even started thinking of a little joke I would make about how my flight got changed and how fate worked in funny ways. I imagined the smile on his face, maybe a little laugh, and then a hug. But then I heard a sound that made my heart stop. It was his voice. He was in our bedroom. I could hear him clearly. He was on the phone, laughing. Not a small, polite laugh, but a loud, happy, relaxed laugh. Something about it made me stop halfway up the staircase. I didn't mean to listen. I didn't plan to eavesdrop. But my feet stopped, my heart froze, and I stayed still. "Girl, I'm telling you," he said. His voice was clear as day. "Dating someone younger has been the best decision I've made in years." My stomach dropped before my mind could catch up. "She's 32, he continued. "So much energy. Not like some people who need a nap after 10 minutes. For a moment, I felt a strange, cold feeling spread through my chest. It wasn't anger yet. It wasn't tears. It was something else. A strange, icy stillness that made my knees weak. My hands felt cold against the wooden banister. He laughed again. Someone on the other side of the phone must have said something funny because he added, "Oh, please. Zephyr doesn't suspect a thing. She's too busy with her precious investments and work trips." I could feel my stomach twist. My husband had been lying to me for months. I had always been honest with him. I had told him everything. I worked hard. I ran a business. I took care of our family. And he had been laughing at me to someone else, mocking me. "I've been happier these past 4 months than I've been in over a decade," he said, like it was no big deal. Like it was just talking about a new gym routine. "You should see her apartment," he continued. "Total bachelor girl vibe, but honestly, who cares when she looks like that without a shirt and knows exactly what she's doing with her hands?" He lowered his voice after that, but I had already heard enough. My entire marriage, everything we had built together, felt like it had been turned into a joke. My body felt betrayed. My trust had been treated like something unimportant, something funny to laugh about. "Thursday at 6 o'clock, she's cooking dinner." "Well, dinner, you know what I mean," he said casually. I told Lysra I have a boys' night. And at that moment, I realized something terrifying about myself. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't even angry yet. I was thinking. I was thinking about everything, about what I would do next, about what my life would look like from that moment on. I quietly turned around. I went back down the stairs, picked up my suitcase, and left the house without making a sound. I drove to a hotel across town, checked in, and sat on the edge of the bed for 3 hours. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't call anyone. I just thought about 23 years of marriage in my head. 2 children, both adults now. A home we had built together. Retirement plans we had discussed just last month over dinner. And all the while, my husband had been sleeping with a woman young enough to be our daughter and making jokes about me to his friends like I was a punchline. At 6:30 p.m., I called an old attorney friend. By 6:45 p.m., I had the number of the best divorce lawyer in the state. My consultation was scheduled for Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. At 7 p.m., I texted my husband. "Flight delayed, stuck at the airport, probably staying overnight. See you tomorrow." His reply came immediately. "Okay, sweetheart. Safe travels. Love you." That was the last lie I accepted from him. Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, I walked into my attorney's office with a calm that surprised even me. Her name isn't important. What matters is that she was sharp, prepared, and already 10 steps ahead. She didn't waste time offering sympathy. She asked for facts, timelines, money, and proof. I gave her everything. 23 years of marriage. A consulting business I had built from nothing, now valued at roughly $2.3 million. A house worth about $850,000, fully paid off. Retirement accounts, investments, properties. I had never hidden a single number from my husband. Transparency has been one of the rules of our marriage. Apparently, it had only applied to me. My husband had worked part-time years ago, then stopped about 15 years ago. Since then, he has lived comfortably. Yoga classes, lunch with friends, volunteer work, which he always described vaguely. I never questioned it. I thought he had earned the right to slow down after raising our kids. Turns out he had been earning something else entirely. When I finished laying everything out, my attorney leaned back and said something that snapped the fog completely out of my system. "We need evidence," she said. "Audio alone won't hold up here. If we're going to leverage infidelity, we need proof." I told her I knew exactly where he would be Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. She nodded once. By Wednesday afternoon, everything was already in motion. The private investigator was retained. My financial advisor met with me at 2 p.m. to restructure accounts legally before filing. I updated my will that same day, removing my husband entirely. Everything would go to our children. I opened a new bank account and redirected my business income. Passwords were changed. Access was tightened quietly, methodically. I was building my new life carefully, one step at a time. Thursday came faster than I expected. That afternoon, I told my husband I had a client dinner. He barely looked up from his phone. "That's fine," he said easily. "I have boys' night anyway." The way he said it too, it was rehearsed. Too light, too casual. It was like he had been waiting to use that line for months. "Have fun," I replied. "Oh, I will," he said, smiling without even trying to hide it. At 6:07 p.m., the private investigator sent the first message. My husband had arrived at an apartment complex downtown, Unit 304. No bag, no jacket, nothing you'd normally bring to a casual hangout with friends. He stayed until 11:43 p.m. When he left, his clothes were different. His hair was messy. The PI captured him at the door with her. The woman he had been bragging about. Her hand on his chest, his mouth on her cheek. Friday morning, I received the report. 53 photos. Time-stamped. Categorized. Clinical. Undeniable. I called my attorney. "We're good to file. I'll have the papers ready by Monday," she said. "Where do you want him served?" she asked. I didn't hesitate. At her apartment, there was a pause. Then she laughed, cold and approving. "Yes, we can do that." Tuesday evening, 1 week after I had heard that laugh on the stairs, my husband left the house again at 5:45 p.m. He kissed me on the cheek. "Boys' night," he said. "We're playing cards." "What are you playing?" I asked lightly. Poker," he said. "Have fun," I said. At 6:30 p.m., the PI confirmed he had arrived at the apartment. At 6:47 p.m., the process server knocked. I didn't see it live, but I watched the video later. The door opened. Confusion crossed his face. Then the woman appeared behind him, smiling, thinking it was a delivery. "I'm looking for his name," the server said. "That's me," my husband replied. "You've been served," said the server. The envelope changed everything. His smile vanished. He opened it. His face drained of color, then flushed red. He looked at her, then back at the server. "What is this?" he shouted. "Divorce petition." "Have a good evening," said the server and walked away. I watched the video twice. Then I poured myself a drink. It was the first time in a week I felt satisfaction. 3 days later, my phone started ringing at 7:23 p.m. His name lit up the screen. I let it ring. He called again and again. 16 times in total. I blocked the number. At 9:15 p.m., headlights swept across the front of the house. I watched from the upstairs window as he walked up to the door. Confident at first, then confused. He tried his key once, twice, then started pounding. "Open this door right now," he shouted. I cracked the bedroom window just enough to speak. "Go to a hotel. We'll communicate through attorneys." "You can't lock me out of my own house," he yelled. "This house was purchased in 1997, I replied evenly. 4 years before we married. Check the deed. You'll be compensated through the divorce." "I've lived here for 23 years, he yelled. "That will be addressed legally." "Hire a lawyer," I said. He called me names I hadn't heard in years. I closed the window, turned off the lights, and sat in the dark while he screamed for another 20 minutes before finally leaving. The next morning, his sister called. "What the hell are you doing?" she demanded. "My brother has been cheating on me for at least 4 months with a woman young enough to be his daughter," I said. She hesitated. He said I overreacted to him having a friend. "A friend he met at her apartment at night while lying about boys' night," I said. Silence. "Thought so," I said and hung up. Thursday afternoon, my attorney called. His lawyer wanted to talk things out. He said I was overreacting. Claimed it was a mistake. Tell them my terms, I said. State-mandated division, no negotiation, no counseling. We file. You'll lose assets, she warned. I know. I'm not doing it to win money. I'm doing it to be Zephyr, I said. By Friday night, he texted from a new number. Please talk to me. I made a mistake. Think about our kids. I replied once. You threw it away when you slept with someone else. Communicate through lawyers only. Then I blocked that number too. On Saturday morning, our daughter called me first. I could hear the worry in her voice right away. Mom, she said, her voice shaking like a leaf in the wind. I felt my stomach tighten. Then my husband called me crying. I could tell something very serious had happened. What's happening? I asked, trying to stay calm, even though inside I was hurting. I took a deep breath and said, Your father had an affair. I'm divorcing him. There was a long pause on the phone. Our daughter went quiet, like she didn't know what to say. I'm sorry you're in the middle, she whispered. I felt a pang in my heart. She didn't deserve this, but I also knew it was important to be honest with her. He told me you were imagining things, she said after a moment. I have proof. You Zephyr need to see it unless you want to. I need time, she whispered softly. About an hour later, our son called. Mom, he said, trying to sound brave. Dad says you filed without warning. He cheated. I'm Zephyr. Do you have proof? Yes, I said. Then I support you, he said. I'm sorry, Mom. I felt a small relief knowing that our children believed me and trusted me. That evening, my husband showed up at our house again. This time, he brought his mother with him. I opened the door, but the chain lock was still on. I wanted to protect myself and make sure things stayed safe. This has gone far enough, his mother snapped. Her voice was loud and angry. You Zephyr throw away a marriage over a mistake. He didn't make a mistake, I said. I kept my voice steady, even though my heart was pounding. He made choices. Not once, not twice, but over and over. My husband stepped forward, his face full of desperation. Please, Zephyr, let me explain, he begged. You planned it, I said firmly. You lied. You bragged. You mocked me. And it meant nothing to you, he started crying. Then you traded our marriage for nothing, I said. His mother tried to push the door open, anger clear in her eyes. Think about the shame you're bringing on this family. I looked at her calmly. I am thinking about myself for the first time in years, I said. Leave. We're not leaving until you agree to counseling, my husband said, raising his voice. I pulled out my phone and said, I'm calling the police. You are trespassing. They left. The next morning, Sunday, I woke up and saw a social media post my husband had made. After 23 years of marriage, sometimes people grow apart. I'm heartbroken to announce we are separating. Please respect our privacy. The comments were full of sympathy. People wrote, you deserve better, and stay strong. I didn't respond. I didn't correct anything. I let the truth wait. On Monday morning, my attorney called again. They were demanding half of everything, including my business. File everything, I told her. Make it public record. That will get messy, but I Zephyr care. The war has officially begun. 2 weeks after I filed for divorce, things changed quickly. At first, the letters and emails were filled with apologies, but soon they became aggressive and calculated. His new attorney specialized in what their website proudly called high-asset divorces, where husbands were said to deserve a fair share. That alone told me everything I needed to know about what they were planning. The first move was a request for temporary spousal support. They said my husband had no money, no access to funds, and had been financially Zephyred. They asked for $8,000 a month while the divorce was ongoing. My attorney countered fast. We submitted bank records, credit card statements, and proof that he had been using our joint card freely right up until the day I filed. He wasn't destitute. He was staying with his mother. The judge decided on $3,500 a month. Less than he wanted, more than I wanted to give, but tolerable. Then the sabotage began. Week 1, my business partner forwarded me an anonymous email accusing me of stealing money from my business. It was completely false. We had to hire a forensic accountant to prove it. It cost $12,000 and 2 weeks of stress, but my name was cleared. The timing wasn't subtle. It was meant to scare me, to make me worry that everything I had worked for would fall apart. Week 2, 3 of my biggest clients received messages suggesting I was unstable and distracted by personal issues. 2 of them called me directly. I told them the truth. They stayed, but the worry and the whispers lingered. Week 3, My husband filed for a restraining order. He claimed he feared for his safety. His evidence was laughable. Me changing the locks, me asking him to leave my property, me refusing to speak directly with him. The judge denied it immediately, but the rumor spread anyway. Another post appeared online, showing that I had taken legal steps to protect myself. His friends rallied around him. Mine stayed quiet. By week 4, my attorney requested his deposition. This is where he had to answer questions under oath, with a court reporter writing everything down. He cried and apologized, saying he had been emotionally neglected. Then the questions got very specific. How many times did you meet your girlfriend at her apartment? I Zeffert no 10, 20, he said. Did you lie about boys' night? Yes. Did you tell your friends I didn't suspect a thing? His face turned white when my attorney read the transcript aloud. Did you mock your wife's sexual performance? I was venting, he said. Answer, yes or no. Yes. The silence afterward felt deserved. In the parking lot, he tried to approach me. You're destroying me, he shouted. I want a divorce, I said. You destroyed it yourself. That was when I realized something unexpected. I wasn't angry anymore. I was Zephyr. The escalation didn't stop with the deposition. It became more calculated. His attorney asked for access to 10 years of my business records. My attorney was blunt. They were fishing, hoping to find anything to twist into leverage. My books were clean, but clean didn't mean painless. We fought it. The judge granted limited access, 3 years only, but it was still invasive and still expensive. A week later, the settlement proposal arrived. He wanted 60% of the house value, half of my retirement accounts, half of the business valuation, and $6,000 a month in spousal support for 15 years. When my attorney finished reading it, she laughed, not politely, not professionally. She laughed because it was absurd. They're trying to break you, she said. Counter, I replied. And Zeffert, be gentle. We did the math. We looked at state minimums, his ability to work, his infidelity, and the reality he wanted to avoid. Our counteroffer cut everything nearly in half and excluded meaningful ownership of the business entirely. The waiting that followed was its own kind of torture. Weeks of silence were broken only by filings, emails, and occasional calls from our children, who were trying to navigate loyalty without choosing sides. I told them the same thing every time. This isn't your fault. This isn't your responsibility. Then the final crack appeared. Through our daughter, I learned the girlfriend had ended things. 2 weeks after the deposition. Apparently, being with a married man was exciting. Being with a divorced man living with his mother, dependent on court-ordered support, was not. The fantasy dissolved under daylight. His friends stopped calling. Court records leaked. Mockery doesn't age well when it becomes public. 6 weeks after filing, 3 days before trial, his attorney called mine. They wanted to settle. The final agreement wasn't everything I wanted, but it was enough. I bought him out of 40% of the house value. He received 42% of the retirement funds accumulated during the marriage, 15% of the business valuation paid out over 5 years, and spousal support of $4,200 a month for 7 years, reducible if he remarried or cohabitated. All told, he walked away with just over $1.3 million. Not nothing. Not what he imagined, but not nothing. At the final hearing, the judge reviewed the settlement and made it clear he wasn't impressed by my husband's conduct. When he asked if we both agreed, I said yes without hesitation. The gavel came down. Zephyr. Outside the courthouse, my husband tried one last time. Can we talk? No, I said. Move on. For the first time since that laugh on the stairs, I felt nothing at all. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I sold the house. There were too many memories trapped in the walls. Too many echoes of a life I no longer recognized. I bought a smaller condo downtown. Clean lines, quiet mornings, a space that belonged entirely to me. The business didn't suffer the way his attorney had predicted. In fact, it grew. Some clients respected the way I handled everything. Others were simply curious. Either way, the work continued. Stability returned. I didn't rush into dating. I wasn't interested in replacing anything. I was interested in peace. I slept through the night again. I ate without that knot in my stomach. I laughed without forcing it. Through the kids, I heard updates I didn't ask for. He moved in with his mother permanently. Money was tighter than he expected. He told people I had taken everything. I hadn't. The numbers were public. Anyone who cared to look could see that. His girlfriend never came back. The fantasy ended the moment consequences arrived. Some of his friends distanced themselves once the deposition transcript surfaced. Mocking your spouse while cheating doesn't inspire loyalty when it's written in black and white. His sister called once more, asking if I felt satisfied ruining his life. I asked her, "Would you feel satisfied being lied to, mocked, and betrayed for months?" She hung up. One night, my daughter met me for dinner. She looked at me carefully and asked, "Are you really okay?" "I'm relieved," I said. "It's over." My son called a few days later. "Dad says he made a mistake." "He made dozens," I replied. "I made one choice." People asked if I regretted how quickly I filed. No. The only thing I regret is ignoring my instincts for so long. The distance I felt was real. The laughter I hadn't heard in years had gone somewhere else. I told myself I was being paranoid. I wasn't. I didn't destroy his life. He made choices that carried consequences. I simply refused to carry them for him. When someone shows you who they are, when they mock you behind your back, when they lie easily and repeatedly, believe them. Respect yourself enough to act. The chapter is closed. Time to see what the next one brings.